Becca's on.
And your son is
It looks like Rebecca's on.
Yeah.
Okay,
you see that
forward.
Do we
We're
have
just
a-
gonna do a sound check real
I
quick.
can hear now. I can hear now.
No, she's senior.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rebecca, can you hear us?
I know, well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Mary?
Actually, Ben, can you hear us?
Which one?
I can hear you.
Okay, great.
You gonna grow it out for winter?
Ready for recording, yeah? We are,
Everything sounds good on you.
we're going, okay, great, we can start,
Printed
okay?
agenda summaries, we don't.
I don't have any. Okay.
It's not like it's her job, we just.
No, I'm just gonna-
I would, it was too, because she really.
Just the agenda page?
Yeah.
No, I can put it all that.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Does anybody else not want to?
Mine are sitting on my keyboard. Do anybody need an agenda?
Do you need an agenda paper?
I'm good. I'll just read off.
Okay. Like I said, I'm also about to share my screen and put the agenda. I like to save trees, so I don't want
Me
to print
too.
out all that stuff.
I hate trees.
I like.
These were amazing up in the west side.
Forgot that I might see several neighbors here.
Mhm, mhm.
You know.
Are we recording yet? Yep, okay.
Water closed?
Okay, I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Moab Area Travel Council Board Advisory Board to order. It is October 8th, and I am Alex Borshevsky, the vice chair, and we'll just do some introductions.
Hi, Biga Metzner, Moab to Monument Valley Film Commission Director.
We got citizen to be heard.
Yeah, my name is Pete Joyce. I came to be heard or unheard, whatever you want.
Okay.
Jason Taylor, Moab City Council liaison. The representative.
Lori McFarland, High Point Pomeranian TV.
Sharon Kinsley, Live Information Center, CNHA coordinator.
Ben Federal, Director, EPP. Ben Alter, Assistant Director of Economic Development. Okay, online.
Mary McGann, Grand County Commission.
Rebecca Monso, Element Moab.
Got that? Anyone else? No? Okay. Okay, so we're called to order, citizens to be heard. Pete?
Yes, that's Pete. I wanted to share a little bit of my personal perspective. I as a group tax expenses and all that stuff have been in the news, controversial lately. First, a little background. I started out normal enough. I ended up, well, I don't know what's normal, but I did some graduate work in applied math, mechanical engineering, worked as a TA for upper division math and thermodynamics courses. And I just knew I couldn't work in that environment. I would suffocate. Actually, I had a brief office job that lasted about a year. Anyway, I stumbled into what I would say is the tourism business. I guided river trips in Idaho and Grand Canyon for 45 years. And one of my favorite questions, we always get the question, what do you do in the winter? I got this line from David Lark. I practice retirement, but I never did figure it out. But one of the things I was curious about that I would ask them was, how'd you hear about this trip? And almost inevitably, it was word of mouth. And in fact, after a while too, after doing it a while, pretty soon it's like, oh, I remember you from a previous trip. We had a lot of repeat business. One of my friends started his own company, all based on previous, people he'd connected with and word of mouth. And like I did probably encountered about 3,000 to 4,000 different people on river trips. And I can't recall anyone saying, oh, I saw this advertisement. I heard it from so-and-so. I would get people come on the trip and say, oh, my friend did a trip with you and said to say hi, somebody I hadn't met. So my point is, you can't really buy that kind of advertising, you earn it. And one of the things you're doing is, the important thing is you're protecting your product. Grand Canyon pretty much sells itself. It's like if you're an outfit of Grand Canyon, you're not looking at your trips, something's wrong. It's the product of the place itself and also your guides, and if your guides are treating people bad, you're going to hear about it. People aren't going to come back. So anyway, that's my anecdotal personal perspective, but also it's like, should really rely upon data. And there's a quote that I really like: "In God we trust, all others must bring data." So by this guy, W.E. Demings. So what does the data say? So I looked up, Nielsen says 92% of customers trust recommendations from friends and family over all forms of advertising. In business to business advertising, 97% say user-generated content from peer reviews and user forum are the most credible. And but the other truism about advertising is negative experiences also kind of word of mouth, like I'll go and I'll look at Yelp reviews or something, and even just a couple of negative reviews catch your attention. So my point is that the best way, my personal perspective on this is, the best form of advertising for us is to defend our product, and defending the product means we don't necessarily need to advertise. What we need to do is make sure we don't want the negative advertising from people coming and saying, I went there. I mean, Moab, everybody knows about Moab now. It's like known around the world. I have friends from Germany who come to stay in Moab. People know where Moab is, and the most important thing that's going to keep them coming here or telling other people is to protect our product. But the word is also getting out that Moab is becoming noisy and crowded and all these things. And so what we need to do is, I think, what the county commission has been doing is mitigate those impacts to make Moab still a desirable place to come to and visit. Anyway, I've made my living as doing this, and if I were still in the business, that's what I would be advocating. Anyway, I thank you for your time. I think I'll probably talk more than the 3 minutes the county commission allows.
No, that's good. Thanks a lot, Pete.
Okay,
Appreciate your time, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I'll leave you guys to your business.
All right.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Pete.
I like this haircut.
Nature does it for me.
Yeah. All right, moving on, discussion and action items. We got some board member reports. I'll just start off with, let's see, business at restaurants. It's been pretty good as of late. Season's ramping up, and it's still not quite what it used to be. I think but I still have, we definitely have a good vibe with the parking situation is finally completed for the most part. And I think I definitely see a lot of walking people, pedestrians all around the area. So that's really good to see. It's very aesthetic. I like the completion. Everything looks pretty tidy. I still have I think we just need to work out with some of the transportation, some of the new traffic patterns, and work with maybe some of the bus parking situation. We'll work on that.
Yeah, you had 2 of them parked there a
Yeah,
couple minutes ago.
yeah. So, I spoke with Lane, sent some emails to the city manager, and I just think we need to work a little bit on the bus. Like we want buses and the guests in Moab. But we need to give them direction on where to go, because right now they used to come to the MIC and park in the MIC, and that was pretty obvious. Now they can't really pull in the MIC, so they've been designated to park in front of the sushi bar and Singha, which seems like a good idea on paper, but in practice, it's not great. So I had suggested a couple things I had a conversation or two with Lane about trying to get parking in front of the MIC on Main Street, because he has to rip up the curb. Apparently, because those trees are like uprooting everything, and bus parking there is a little bit too wide for Main Street. So he's going to talk with UDOT to see if it's possible. And if we can move the curb in a couple feet, that would allow for like 2 or 3 buses right out front of the MIC on Main Street.
The other thing, the buses were able to get in and out of the MIC parking lot until they put the parallel parking in front of the hair salon.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 3 spots there.
Uh-huh.
If they took those 3 spots, the buses could get back through there. But now that those are there and
So they can't
this,
come out.
they can't come out. They can get in, they just can't come out unless they turn in right.
Mhm.
You say hair salon, which one? Harry?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because
So,
they were coming in until that got put in.
mhm. And then I had also suggested like, what about over at the, by the food truck park? And then M Boulevard, because it seems like we need some bus parking we need bus stops where people can like get out, do their thing, and the bus can then move on and go park somewhere where the people are in downtown. And also associate that with a, close to a mat stop, so that people can get on that and move around town. Talked with a couple of the bus tour operators and they were in favor of that, and mainly they were just like, we don't really know where to go in town. So we just need to come up with some communication from the city and the county's perspective, like on the websites, like, and then also maybe even proactively send some things out to tour companies. And I don't know if that's something that maybe the travel council can do, is like, hey, we've got new traffic patterns in town. This is what we'd like to, these are the good places for, buses to come and park, and these are great places to drop people off. These are not great places to drop people off. Right now, there's no parking anywhere on Main Street, but they do have stops. They stop in front of the MAC apparently and drop people off, but anyway. So I think I'd like to just try to work a little bit more on the bus tours and just facilitating some more bigger vehicle and trailer parking for the downtown project. Moving on from that, business wise, we have our parklet up and running, super stoked on that. It's finally come together. So I'm really excited for some more seating and hopefully get some more business in the next few weeks. And that's about it. Weather's really great and hopefully, people start coming to Moab. So moving on. You go.
Do I normally say anything?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You're not really a board member.
I'm not a board member. I'll just briefly say that I had a really, really nice event that was a number of months in the making, Cinema App. All the movies were screened on Friday night at Star Hall, and there was a really great turnout. The movies were really, really fun. I gave some awards to people who were previous film commission directors and or presidents of the film commission prior to starting and screening of the show, and that was really nice and lovely. And I think that they appreciated the trophies and being there. Movies are available to watch on YouTube. You can go to Facebook, to my film commission Facebook page, and find a link. And yeah, it was just really fun and great. And then I do have another film screening coming up in November, just a straight up movie that was filmed a lot here. So just look for ads for Delicate Arch horror movie on November 8th. But other than
Okay.
that, that's my little not normal speaking spiel.
Okay.
Well, things the city is working on, we're starting to finish up with dispersed parking, I think it does aesthetically look good, but I do see and share many of you guys' concerns, that, while it does look good, there are, I see some issues, I also see vehicles parking outside, of the stalls, and, there's the little miniature four-way stop signs that are put up. I just heard about that. I don't know what the deal is with it, so I'll probably learn more about that tonight after this meeting, after the city council meeting. And then the city is, tonight we are on the agenda is to approve the bid or approve the design of 100 East. So that could be, everybody's complained about the worst road in Moab, it's behind City Market, and we are getting ready to go out and get the engineering down that stuff. So I know that's like that's a big deal.
Biggest.
My goal is that we start. My goal, I haven't even said this to anybody, is that we start the day the school gets out. Is what I would like to see happen on that, and start ripping up that road. So I think that there's some issues that will probably need to be addressed, with the curbs, trees and stuff like that and stuff. But anyway, and then so that's going on. A lot of people have been asking about Mill Creek Drive and why it hasn't been done yet. And And it's not a city issue, it's the contractor that's keeps putting off the mill and fill on Mill Creek Drive. So, please know that the city's asking weekly, you know, I know city councilors are asking weekly, you know, like what's going on with this, you know, and it's been a delay from the contractor, not us. We're ready, you have it. And let's see. That's kind of the broad stroke things that we're kind of dealing with. Cane Creek is, I don't know if anything's happening in Cane Creek. I feel like there should be things
It's really
happening.
slow.
It's very slow. And
Seems like a lot going on there. So
there's so much going on. I mean, they basically replaced everything 10 feet underground on up, you know, it's been replaced during that whole thing. So it's new storm drains, new gas lines, new water lines, new sewer lines, you know, everything. And then, so it's been, I don't know, a big process, and it's been taking forever, so. But that's still happening, which is, I guess, good. And, that's about it. We had the street fair last weekend, you know, the street concert thing, and I heard that it was really good. I was actually out of town for it, but I heard that it was
you mean Street Fest?
the Main Street Fest, there, yeah, right up front of the Mark, yeah.
I was the MC for that, I forgot to say that. It was
Oh,
great.
really?
Yeah, all day long.
That's one of my favorite events of the whole summer. I think it's like, cause it's, to me, it's
good.
like a, it's
Yeah,
a,
it felt a little slower this year, but it was still
Did it?
good. Yeah, it was perfect weather though,
It
sure.
was hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, it was really hot.
to me, it's like the quintessential like local event, you know, it's like, wow, I haven't seen you,
Mhm.
you know, since February, you know, it's like all the locals kind of come out. of the
Great,
woodwork.
great bands this year. The choice of music was
Oh, nice.
phenomenal from the Mark people. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally
Yeah,
great.
And then, yeah, as far as business goes, I think we're kind of in the same boat, you know, things have been slow to ramp up, we've been pretty busy. I just feel like it's a little it's a little too little too late, you know, I feel like it ramped up and then come November, it's just gonna start drying
I
out.
think the weather really played into, you know, just lack of tourism later, so latter part of September. It normally ramps up earlier,
Yeah,
but I think it's just been so hot.
yeah, and so I'm hoping that it carries through November.
Mhm.
I'm hoping we have a great November,
Mhm.
you know, and so that's, I think, you know, Alex and I did an interview for KSL last week,
Saw that.
and,
Yeah.
you know,
Good.
and I think. just
Yeah,
kind of
thanks,
just-
Jason.
What was the topic?
A lot of it was just issues that we're having in a tourist town, you know, and it
Yeah.
was like, and he asked me a lot of questions, and when the interview came out, when it was broadcast, it was focused on housing, you know, and they did ask a lot of questions about housing
Mhm.
and,
So you guys did a great job.
Yeah,
oh, thanks.
yeah, thanks.
So-
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Yeah, he was good. And, so, yeah, that's,
I have one question about your business. I know you rent Jeeps, but do you also do Jeep tours, like someone else will drive for, like if I have an elderly couple asking about a Jeep tour?
we don't,
Okay.
we, that's more of a home tour. So we kind of said.
No.
Tour.
Okay.
Side of things, but, yeah. But anyway, yeah, but anyway, that's kind of, that's all I have.
Anything with the airport? Come on.
Airport's still doing its thing, Contour is still doing its thing. As far as they're, like, on that board, the airport's working on leases right now and trying to work out leases with Red Tail Aviation and
Insurance.
insurance, yeah.
The insurance
I
thing
mean, it's
is
just like,
taking forever. to
yeah.
get there.
We spent hours talking on if someone needs commercial insurance for the private vehicle that comes in, you know, stuff, but. I
Once
think,
that's worked through, I think things will start moving, but
yeah, there hasn't been any talk about, essential air service, you know, lately. They have, Tammy hasn't even really discussed,
whether there was gonna be more flights from,
Yeah,
we didn't even have, talk about any of that.
no, Tammy wasn't there yesterday in person.
Yeah, she was sick.
And,
It's been dominated by insurance, lately, so all the meetings have been kind of,
There was a lot of jets there Saturday.
There were some big jets there yesterday.
Saturday.
we
night,
didn't even,
when we were coming back from
really go over like
It
what,
was like one,
the,
like 5 of them.
Yeah.
what do you call it, when the flights, people come in on per day or whatever.
Claimant?
employments,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't go over employments or the monthly report at all. We didn't have that in the packet. And so
But our packet was 200 some pages.
240 pages long or something.
Nice.
So tell me, guys, because you're both on it, is there any motion moving in the Contour Air Department where they were supposed to do some advertising?
Did you listen to the meeting?
Yeah.
If you listen to the meeting, you know as much as I do. And basically what it points out is in the meeting, I asked Tammy, what was being done. I asked Tammy, I asked her if she could get a report from Contour, about, where the money was being spent with. And in that meeting, she told me that it wasn't Contour's responsibility to do the advertising, it was, Grant County's job to do the advertising, and Contour would reimburse it for that advertising. And then in that meeting, she said that, the people that were in charge of doing that advertising are no longer with the county. And so,
Scott and Melissa.
she was waiting until,
No, that's not right.
Okay.
and so, she was waiting until, the travel council became stable or got people in there to do it and stuff.
The travel council or
The travel
the
council,
economic
the travel council,
Oh, technology.
yeah, it's all the same,
Okay,
yeah.
you and I are travel council, so I'm
Yeah,
just trying to
but it's
figure
all
out
the same
where the shift is and where the,
Yeah, so, so that's as much as I know at this point and stuff, so I
so
figured
we
that
had a
there,
budget, we had money set aside as part of their contract.
no,
No, it was their
No.
money.
It's their
I'm
money.
looking back these notes. There's a much different story.
yeah, and so, no, there was no money set aside, there was no budget. When they got the contract, Contour said, we will give you, or we will put in $25,000 for advertising this airline.
How much did they say?
25,000.
Yeah, because I'd heard, the number I remember was like 27, and we gave them some suggestions and then said, if that doesn't work, come back to us, because why would you advertise your airline here?
So what?
This
So
is,
this is,
I don't want to, not to
Yeah,
go down a rabbit hole,
no,
but this
this
is
is-
way back in March.
this is you talking to Contour.
Yes,
I was under the impression Contour was doing the advertising.
we
And,
gave them some suggestions, said, we'll
and,
help you if you need to, and, but you gotta come back. to us
yeah,
with
and
it.
so I was kind of, thrown off last night. When Tammy said something, when Tammy was like, no, we are supposed to do the advertising and they're reimbursing us for us. And,
I mean, we can. if we want.
and which was new to me, like I wasn't under that impression, and stuff, so, I was kind of blown away. I've reached out to some people to get clarification on what is actually going on, but I'm sure it'll take a few days to get that information, so that's kind of, but yeah,
So there's a void.
there's a concerning void to me. Because we're 1/3 of the way through this contract. And it's either, and it sounds like.
Affect your business directly. I mean, I know you
Oh,
can't say that, but
100%.
I can.
Yeah, it's gonna affect a lot of businesses and stuff, so anyway, we just need to figure out what's going on, get on the right track. And, yeah, so I don't know where the breakdown, I feel like the breakdown, I thought it was Contour that was supposed to
Well,
be,
that's what I thought, and that's what his notes say.
yeah, I thought it was Contour that was.
I mean, we offered to help them, we said we'll do it, but we gave them suggestions on where to look first.
Right.
So,
Right. So, that's on the top of my list to try to spearhead that, figure out what's.
Well, maybe.
So then what's
don't
what's our next
advertise.
steps?
Oh,
to be
yeah,
able
here you go.
to-
Go ahead.
Yeah, what's the next steps in order to get, do you think? Contour needs to reach out to you or you?
No, I think Tammy needs, I think we'll connect with Tammy because she brought it up in the directors meeting this week that they're getting back on track, so they needed to talk to our office, but this was never resolved. So,
Yeah,
I
I
was like-
don't remember hearing about it in the past, so it was a little new to me, so,
yeah,
so. You'll talk with Tammy about
yeah.
Contour marketing.
Yeah, and I even told Tammy, I was like, this seems like it, cause she said that, she goes, well, the people are gone. I go, well, this should never have been those people. It should have been on Ben's desk. You know, Ben's the one who sends out the tasks to his staff.
Right.
You know, and it is, and with Tammy saying, it sounds like it just went directly to one of these two people to deal with, which didn't go through the right.
That has been a problem. There have been things that have bubbled up that were never communicated up level, and there's been some fixes in that.
So, yeah,
All right, well, let's move on. Right.
I've been to several different, advertising, marketing, tourism meetings. Went to the Utah State Tourism Conference in Davis County a couple of weeks ago. Learned lots of things, connected in lots of ways. One of the things that I appreciated the most is, as a member of the Utah UTF, we receive, you know, it's not inexpensive, but we receive what they call a toolkit that helps us to advocate in tourism with the state, with one another, and I think it's a really valuable tool. One of the reports that they sent was tourism data through 2023 by county. That is something that I had tried to get from Love, but was unable to. Where in the state of Utah are things going well? But I've just been told, no, tourism is down everywhere, get over it. But the data doesn't indicate that. When you look at the direct spend of 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, the direct spend in Grand County increased from 19 to 23 about 1.2%. In Washington County, it increased 18.8%. In San Juan County, it increased 8.2%. In, let's see who else. I just pulled up anybody who was semi-tourism related, you know, Tory, and everybody was 8, 10, 15, 18% up. But Grand County eked out over 2019 and our direct spend 1.2%. So we're doing something different here. Other counties with San Juan counties ahead, but we'll see what 2024 shows.
Okay,
That's all I got.
do you want to share that report with us on email?
I'd love to.
You have it on your agenda right there.
Oh, sorry,
The UTF
got it.
by county. It's from the Kemp C. Gardner. And everybody can do the math on their own.
It's the toolkit, right?
The toolkit's fabulous. I didn't know that other people could look at that toolkit. I thought that that was like something, but I'm happy to share it.
And you know, the Ken Gardner stuff is on the Utah Office of Tourism data dashboard as well.
I'll send the link if that's legit. I just left all of the documents on my keyboard when I rushed out the door. And, I mean, like I said, I didn't look at every county. I just looked at 6 counties. But I feel like it's a false narrative to say that it's down everywhere when we're down significantly in other counties. Not, maybe it's down in their direct spend.
Ryan had asked to get that on.
Our numbers, we're trying to keep up with 2017, which is a little sad, but that's kind of where we are.
Okay, well, I guess I don't see it on.
I'm gonna find it and I will
yeah, I
send it
don't
to
think
you.
I have either.
Yeah,
I will
I
send
don't,
Yeah.
yeah, I just have, as far as like on the packet here, I've got,
Wasn't Brian
Our
gonna send you
meeting.
something from his toolkit? Add to the UTA toolkit.
yeah, I mean, I just see, the TRT numbers for Grand County and then on to the shoulder season.
Okay,
That's, I don't have that.
okay.
Okay. Moving on, Sharon.
Yes, September was actually back up. For the week, thank goodness. And it's, since the train is doing the 2 days a week right now,
Mhm.
that is really, really helping us.
Mhm.
Because they, bring people, they drop them off there, they drop all their luggage off in our, parking lot and then take it over to their office. Great people coming in on that train,
Mhm.
really great people coming in.
Cool.
Couple this morning were from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they actually flew in to the airport, rented a car, and then they're taking the train back on Thursday to
Mhm.
Denver.
Perfect.
So they came in for all the ideas, what to do
Mhm.
while they're here before they leave. So great people. Timed entry for Arches is done in October. We are hoping that the weather holds and for November, and we can recoup some of our July and August numbers.
Mhm.
Right now, I mean, I had at first, because everything had been down so much, I had switched our November staffing out of Arches down to 3 people a day. We normally every year do 4 until Thanksgiving. I switched it to 3 until just at Thanksgiving and up to 4, but yesterday I was with the weather and how much it's picked up so far, I put it back to 4 people.
Mhm.
And so I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping. The only other thing I wanted to say about the parking is just some of the danger. I almost hit a lady. I had to run to the MIG real quick a couple Saturdays ago, and I literally almost ran her over because they just get out of their car and right.
It just happened to me on my way here. If you could do like they do in London, where it just says, look. And like, look left,
They
like,
don't even.
they
look.
don't
Yeah.
look anywhere, they just cross the
They
street.
just park and then walk across.
Or I've seen people just walking like just down the street.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've seen that. That's not good.
I did see a
There's a
bus,
sidewalk right there.
Lot
I
of
did see a
jaywalkers.
bus pull up. Not even where they used to pull up, in between the 2
Mhm.
in and outs on the make, but before that, like right after you turn,
Mhm.
stop.
Right.
To unload people, and it's like 2 cars could be behind them, and then you're into the main street. And I almost, cause I was the second car behind, I almost got out and went and said, look, just pull up farther,
Mhm.
there's a spot for you. So,
Yeah.
and I agree, it's the communication.
Yeah.
I mean, any of the tour operators that come into the MIC, I've been telling them, there's that.
Mhm.
And like I said, if those 3 spots weren't taken in front of Perriot's, they could get around.
Yeah, well, that's good.
It's just too narrow now, they can't get out,
That's good to know, yeah.
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, also, I mean. I don't know how the city feels, but just interrupting for a second.
I interrupted you, you're good.
If there's like code enforcement floating around that can just gently talk to people about how to park. Like maybe hiring some extra people to be like, hey, these are things that we should do with the new parking. These are things we don't want to see in the park.
And I do have to give them credit, because I did see them, we had, it was before they got it all completely with the center cement things.
Mhm.
There was like a vehicle with a trailer, and then another like old school bus that they had done, and they just pulled in across like this and took up all of the spots.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the enforcement was there, he waited, and then, waited for him to come back, and then he did put a note on their window,
Yeah,
so.
Maybe we can get the county to do parking ambassadors.
Ballet.
That'd be the city.
Ballet is even better. Oh my God. Now try to
Well,
get insurance for that.
The whole thing is when that was going on, the MIC parking lot was empty. And we have those RV spots where
Yeah.
the both would have fit in. They just decided to park like that.
yeah. Well,
The people I usually get are the jaywalkers at night, they can't see.
yeah, my mom and my dad, and my brother, I'm sorry, not my dad, my brother and his wife and my mom were crossing Center Street from the MIC going towards Wells Fargo. And the lady came across the street and almost like totally ran them over,
Mhm.
just like making a left. And they had to like jump out and she like screeched the wheels and my mom's in a wheelchair. And they're like, and
they don't work. I actually saved a
so,
family. from
or for
that.
the city, I don't know, or UDOT, left turn lights.
They won't do it.
They won't do it, okay.
Um,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because people are waiting.
Moving
for the
on.
left
and
lane
hopefully
as
when they
soon as
get
it
those
turns.
lights, there are street light things I've seen,
Uh-huh.
so hopefully that'll make things better at night. But
I will
Yeah.
add, I'm especially upset when it's those Colorado license plates. Now that my wife and I have Utah license plates, we
Oh,
can
now you
be
can-
very critical of those outsiders that are coming here and doing this.
yeah, well, if you have a green one, you're just automatically titled.
I know.
Mhm. Okay, Ben.
We'll
Yeah.
go now and then. we'll
Yeah,
do
I
that one
think,
after.
well,
Okay,
we
yeah.
have,
Wait, we haven't probably.
let's just go with Rebecca. Yeah. Rec, you wanna talk?
Sorry, it takes me a minute to unmute it. September was really well. October's occupancy is trending a little bit low. Are lower than our typical levels. But we are getting ready for a bunch of events coming this winter, so that's awesome. Other than that, not much going on. We've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks and then it kind of comes to a halt, so
You have winter events?
just like events here at the hotel people are doing, like our clients.
You just said winter, is it like? in
Oh, like
in the winter?
December.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Cool.
it's awesome.
Alright. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right, well, thank you, Mary.
Yes, at the county, we're working on our land use maps and codes. It's moving along. It's nice that we have a administrator. We also for the planning department, Amy. So that's well, and we do have a new person in the for human resources. So that's great, and it looks like we're most likely going to have a administrator starting hopefully at the beginning of December. It's very close, and so we're hoping that happens. We've been working a lot on flooding and looking at different ways and different, working with some engineers. And Dan Stenta has been very involved and trying to find ways, short-term fixes and long-term fixes. And it's pretty complicated and very expensive. We are in the middle of our budget, we're working on our budgets. And Arroyo Crossing is going really well. If you've been driving by that, it's quite exciting. Skyline Apartments are moving along, are on schedule, even a little ahead of schedule, and on budget, which is a nice combination you don't hear of very often. And the cottages are going well, and they're looking at moving on into the next phase. So it's always exciting when we're getting affordable and assured housing up and going. Are there any questions?
No, it all sounds good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the, let's see, how about the Red Canyon powwow?
I'm sorry, Alex, I did talk, and I don't know if Ben talked. I talked to the Barbara Michelle from the Department of Energy, and she's expecting you to be on the tour.
Oh, yeah,
For
okay,
Colonial.
yeah, I just got that email, so yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, I'm very excited. Okay, thank you. Oh, and the celebration for the 15th million tons removal will be on the 13th of December.
Wow.
Yay.
Fast, that's great, that's cool,
That's accelerated.
all right. All right, great to hear, all right, Ben, Walter? Who's doing the Red Canyon powwow special event?
That's for you all to discuss, but I can pull up some supporting documents.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, so, what happened was 2 weeks ago, I believe. You all looked at special event grant applications and major selections.
Mhm.
Of note, you did leave $4,000 unallocated.
Mhm.
So as it currently stands, there's $4,000 more.
Mhm.
We also unfortunately found out at the end of last week that Jacob Crane with the Red Canyon Powwow did apply in late May. It was totally fine application, and for whatever reason, I think because of staffing shortages, it just slipped through the cracks.
Mhm.
And so their event is coming up. Jacob's made it pretty clear that funding from this body is pivotal to the event.
Mhm.
So we're asking that this body take a look at the allocation decisions they made at previous meetings and reconsider. It's of course up to you all how you want to advise the commission on how to spend. So what I'm going to do is pull up that spreadsheet I shared with you all that shows the decisions that you did make.
Mhm.
And then from there, if folks want to talk more about the merits of any applications, any numbers, we can start messing around with them and see what it looks like.
Yeah, I just wanna add one thing. That wasn't a shorting issue or short of staff. That was there's some misunderstanding in there because there was a thought that people had reached out for them to apply and they hadn't, but glad to have Ben on staff because not only do you look into it, but found that they not only were getting their permit approved, but had applied. So
Mhm.
it was just it was in a blind spot somewhat, but this one's pretty important, so we wanted to bring it to your attention right away. I know it wasn't on the agenda soon enough for there to be any kind of vote, but I would suggest you have a discussion and then like we did with the Economic Advisory Board, if we have to pull together a special meeting to vote,
Mhm.
you could do that. We could pull together an emergency meeting and then we could go in when we take it in front of the commission. We were hoping to, before we found this out, we were hoping to take the events grant with the TCAP suggestions and put it on the commission agenda today before deadline, but we'll hold it out a cycle because this one should be in discussion because it never was.
What are they asking for?
They're asking for 15,000. And we should still be able to get it on the agenda for next
So
week.
okay.
Yeah, with any decision that's made today. And I think that for the sake of the powwow, even if we weren't to get it on to the commission agenda for next week, we probably want to give them some indication of if we were going to fund them to any amount or not, just because their event is coming up.
Mhm.
The powwow's on the 19th of October.
So let me just clarify.
Mhm.
You're asking us to change what we're already given to the other people so we can give them more? Which I feel very uncomfortable doing that because most of those people have listened in on our meetings and know that they were approved for that amount that's in there. And then we all of a sudden cut them. I'm not real comfortable with that. And I know it's not Red Canyon's
Mhm.
fault.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not.
Yeah, so there are a few options here. I totally understand that. So this is just something we bring before. You all can take no action. This is your advisory to the commission. I will say that, I think there's appetite from the county to support this event.
Oh,
So if you choose not to,
wasn't in there.
if you choose not to support it today, I think there's a good chance the county would support it either through this grant or perhaps through some other means, perhaps a budget amendment within our own budget. And so I think what I would ask you all to do is just review the decisions you made. Decide if you want to do anything with it. Like I said, there are still $4,000.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit. So there's a balance
Just
there.
under 5,000 that's
That, then
allocated.
maybe the county can cover the
Um,
rest.
Should give it to other people.
Huh?
Hopefully should give it to other people.
I know.
Maybe increase what you get of that 4,000. But anyway, we don't have enough voting numbers.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So
I'm just concerned, I see giving them what we have left and then hope, I guess we'd have to hope the county or someone else could cover the rest, but I'm just uncomfortable taking money away from people that we've already said we're giving them.
Yep, so again, this is just an advisory
we've
body,
already-
and so technically
We
you,
didn't give anyone their total amount, I don't think.
No,
No
no.
one's been giving anything yet.
Yeah.
But they heard what we voted on.
this is true, but
Yes.
The commission has the say on this anyways, and
Right.
so. I think your integrity is in the right place, and just also, we are technically not bound to anything that's on this spreadsheet. So you do have the freedom to reallocate as you desire, but I absolutely hear where you're coming from.
Your point is well taken.
Yes, and the other thing is, I don't think we gave anyone their total amount asked.
No, we didn't.
I think
81?
From a Woman, the Moab Women's Festival, you did give their total ask. And the Arts Festival. Oh, and the Youth Garden Project Harvest Festival. Go ahead, Mary.
So you said they wanted 5,000
The powwow is looking for 15,000.
and we have 4,000. How much? I can't
just-
see the bottom of your spreadsheet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my apologies, it's not coming out very well. So this bottom number here, 4,475 is the remaining balance that's not been allocated by this body.
And they asked for 15?
Correct.
You know, I agree with Sharon that it is awkward now to go forward and, you know, start saying, oh, well, never mind. Is there, you know, I think I'm comfortable with looking at ways that we could, you know, do some looking at different budgets, you know, and maybe go in and do an amendment to a budget to find the
Yeah.
money.
We've discussed that briefly.
I'm comfortable asking or promoting, you know, asking the rest of the commission to consider that.
That's great. So
I
what
don't-
I think then could be a good course for this board is to, if desired, decide what to do with the remaining short of $5,000. And then as part of your recommending motion, ask that our board look into ways to fund the remainder of the ask or whatever you think is appropriate. And then we can work on pursuing either a budget amendment or some other means and be in touch with this board on how we go about that.
So we should probably work with, we'd be working with Steve and Gabriel, correct?
Correct. And I mentioned this to Gabe briefly today, so it's on his radar, but I wanted to go through this body first to make sure that it was something that we wanted to support.
Okay, well, you know, I'll listen to what the, you know, the body recommends and what they want to do, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm willing to support moving into a budget amendment in order to, because this was not
Yeah,
the fault of
Thank you,
anything.
Jason. yeah, no, thank you,
Literally
Mary.
found out
Appreciate
about this
that.
Friday after.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a
Okay.
shame. We worked with Jacob before and he's
Yeah,
be on
yeah.
top of it.
Yeah, does somebody want to make a motion on?
I make a motion that we allocate the remaining funds from the events grant of the 4,475 to the Red Canyon Powwow. With the caveat that we pursue the county and the commission to explore other avenues to amend the budget to give the remaining up to 15,000 for the Red Canyon Powwow.
Could've
Right.
said better.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That's 1, 2, 3. 3 votes. It's Lori is a no. Any further discussion? Okay.
Did any voting members abstain, or was that it?
That's all we have right now.
Lori was a no, 3 yea, 1 no.
Okay.
Okay. Next we have approval of minutes from last meeting. Does anybody have any comments on last meeting's minutes? So far, negative. Okay, anyone want to make a motion on approving the minutes?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the September 10th meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second from Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Four votes. Oops. Further discussion? Negative. Okay, moving on. Director's report, Mr. Bend.
Okay. Right after the last CAB meeting. Went to Utah Association of Counties. And one thing that we had there is Natalie Randall asked if it'd take time out. She actually brought her complete team down to Provo and to meet with Grant County. So it was very good because we shared, in fact, we're trying to really plug in, as I've said in previous meetings, to leverage their model and build into the Red Emerald strategy. One thing that was interesting to me, I'll just say it was interesting, at the summit, the Chamber Summit here, they presented the In Love in Utah campaign, and everyone really liked it, and there was talk about how much hit it got, and that's actually end of campaign right now. That's something that, you know, thought they were rolling out, and it's something that's been in place, so it's just an example of something that was really popular. In fact, it got more maybe hits and enthusiasm than the Forever Mighty Five. And
In Love in Utah.
yeah, and I don't feel like we leveraged that well. So just going forward, that's something to not miss out on. 2 weeks later, attended the UTIA meeting that Lori mentioned, being that we are in the opt-ins and doing some things, we get invited 2 days before to attend the foreign contractors meetings and do the roundtables where we get updates. Some things that are really interesting that came out of this that was reiterated then in some of the public presentations that I just want this board to hear about, because it very much ties into the queries of where are our international tourists, what are the things that are driving them. So each one of the contractors for the Office of Tourism foreign contracting model got up and presented their countries and gave SWOT analysis. And so Germany, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, India, UK, France, and China. Belgium and Netherlands was included into the France one. But some common themes, especially out of Europe, were that the European tourist is really focusing on safety. So especially family safety. That's very much something the French are value very highly. The second one is sustainability, to the point that it's getting down to the level of disposable cutlery and stuff in hotels and restaurants. That's very off-putting. I was coached by the French rep that when we go over for the sales mission there, that really point out e-bikes, that they're very much into the sustainable model. So just wanted to have that feedback. The UK traveler, as we've said, they really want value. They're looking to book out way ahead. They really want a value experience. They will come Canada first. That's usually their first choice. So that's something to understand. Very exchange rate sensitive and really looking for long pre-booking times. So the message there was, if you have packages or like guided tours and things, that the longer out that they can contract those, that's huge in that model. India was really interesting. COVID really changed the attitude of the Indian traveler. Before it was much more of a service model. Now it's much more of an attitude changing towards activities, experiences, not necessarily, rafting down cataract, but starting to do the hiking, the day trips, that kind of thing. One thing that was really put out there is it's a harder market to get the first time, but then the repeat opportunity is a great travel model, because most everyone in India has family in the US. So once they've plugged in, they come back. They also have the largest increasing middle class in the world. So That population is becoming a demographic that's more sustainable, spend. One thing that if we were to try and promote that market, it very much, has a dietary profile. So we need to understand that, the food offerings, go to a different kind of diet. China, that market, one thing that was reiterated was that they love national parks. Now, that's a very hard market to directly, market to because it's a closed society. One thing that you saw when we did that love presentation, showing metrics and stuff, the big return on ad spend was like $4.50. But where we targeted LA was only about a $2.50 ROAS. If you remember, we were targeting trying to get to China through the influencers there. So that was the strategy of going to the LA market. I talked to the Chinese rep for quite a while and he said, that's a really good strategy. I said, we can't really put the metrics to it or not. He said, it'll probably be a longer term,
Long-term
return.
investment.
So we'll keep watching it, but that's a tough one. And that's one to think about as we go forward. Canada, very winter sports focused. They're 20% travel trade. So we know it's the tour operators because Canada is really a media first approach. So with our FAMs and the things we're doing there, we really need to think about PR and working with their media. Their airlines to Vegas is basically the feeder, hugely exchange rate dependent, which I found interesting because I used to have to deal with doing a lot of FX with Canada and Germany. And that was always seemed like a pretty tight model. And it I don't want to say it's volatile, but it's sensitive, if that makes sense. It's a little bit of move affects that spend. Very influenced by US politics. So our election will definitely influence if they want to travel here or not. Very dark skies focused as well. Thing about Australia is that's basically an emerging market. They have a huge familiarity with the Rocky Mountaineer. So, they have that big train that goes across Australia. They are very familiar with what we have here. 30% of their market targets going to Las Vegas. So somewhere in their product mix is the Vegas piece. Out of that, then we went to the regular UTM meeting. One thing that was highlighted was the Olympics. There's a lot of focus around the Olympics. That's 10 years away. So there's opportunities there. And what we need to start figuring out is how can Moab fit into that model? When the Olympics happen, they'll need 21,000 hotel rooms. I pointed out to the point person who is running the committee that we have over 3,000 hotel rooms here and an airport that can take jets and be in Salt Lake in an hour. There may be opportunities for off-season high altitude training, and we can just be creative about that. One of the other things that was really interesting was there was a presentation on neurodiverse travelers. So that's travelers on the spectrum, maybe with autism. That follows up to a presentation I saw at TTRA where they really talked about that. They had a NASCAR driver who is autistic and he gave a really good presentation, but there's a whole strategy behind working those messages. The other things that were really big were agritourism and dark skies. Antelope Island State Park, their rangers kind of just as hobbyists got into the dark sky piece and started announcing these star parties. Well, they found immediately they were overwhelmed. The model was huge. And to the point that at one of their star parties, they were busier than any day attendance they've ever had in Antelope Island. So it's a huge opportunity. As we said, from coming back from ITB, that like Paris, Berlin, these big cities, yeah, that's huge. I can't remember the statistic, but there's this huge proportion of the population that's never seen the Milky Way. So that's a slam dunk to go after, but it comes with some tough challenges, in terms of whether it's guided or self-done.
We had the Aurora Borealis here in town last night. You couldn't see it with your naked eye, but if you took a picture, I actually took a picture.
Cool,
Pretty
so,
cool.
yeah,
And-
I mean, these things, they're huge, so,
I was sleeping.
then. After that, so last week, on Tuesday. It's Tuesday or Wednesday, we went down to Green River, for a Utah Office of Tourism Town Hall. And basically what they're doing is they're going to each one of the regions and getting the counties from those regions to show up at these town halls. They've hired a consultant. What they're really working on now is their messaging for stewardship. It's basically responsible recreation. So they are building a huge campaign around what they're calling stewardship. They're asking for inputs on the messaging and then to learn how they can work better with the counties. And one of the things we said was, in some of the socializations of the messages, and it all goes back to the Mighty Five. That was done very well, but it wasn't socialized out to the communities with national parks, and they were overwhelmed, kind of surprised. We pointed out that it's not something we do well in our office with the community here and the different companies that provide tourism services and goods. So it's something we need to work on better, but many of our counties, we pointed out that the best snow on earth is not a great message for us, that, help us with these, which if you look in the Red Emerald is kind of in that middle part of their strategy where it's, fulfill these rural counties, especially where there's national parks. This messaging, so that they're gathering information now, inputs, and then they'll work hard on the spring with the target being that the initiative will be coming out, I think they said mid-2025. So we'll keep you posted on that. Something that's a really big thing that we should watch the impact of that'll be happening in Washington County this week is the PGA Tour is having an event in Ivans, and it's the Black Desert Classic. This thing has been in the works for a long time. If you listen to the Golf Channel on Sirius or watch the Golf Channel, this thing is big. It's it fulfills the time slot, fulfills a big gap. And I mean, I just know a lot about the PGA. I don't know if you guys are golfers, you know this too, is there was always that was there really an off season, and they built the model where there isn't one. Well, they found a place that's got a lot of beauty and great weather. You have a Weiskopf course design, which is, I mean, you don't gain better than that. Resort, so you're getting lots of big press. It'll be a big seller, so it'll be interesting to see what the economic impact of that is. So just point that out there. We'll be watching that.
Tina, what's the name of the course?
I think it's called Black Desert.
Black Desert.
Yeah, so. Then as we were saying, Las Colinas tour, Moab Tailings on the 18th. We got Alex invited as a advisor to the TCAB. This goes from lots of discussions that there's been on the mitigation of the pile, discussions that at some point it'd be great to have an outdoor theater there. We talked at Red Rocks to Tuacahn. In Las Colinas is right on. There'd be a perfect stop for these bands. It's in the Trail to Tomorrow. It's one that Alex brought up, so excited to go on that with him. I'll be on that as well. After that meeting with the Utah Office of Tourism, Mick and I and Gracia from Homewood Suites and Hampton Inn helped host 14 tour operators from Australia and New Zealand. That was a very interesting discussion. They were headed to Canyonlands the next day. And Mick has really pushed that, looking at the metrics, that Canyonlands is one that is possibly a good opportunity for us. Arches is kind of the obvious, but when we look at the comparables in the Mighty Five, the Canyonlands visitorship is a decreased number, so there's an opportunity there. So see that, and then I was in correspondence. They left that next day, got on the Rocky Mountaineer to head to Denver. So a lot of text back and forth, but they're pretty excited to start sending people over here. And what we tried to talk to them about is, enjoy those two parks, but then let us talk to you. There is so much more to do here. There's equestrian, there's
There's biking, there's motorized, there's all these different things. You know, we want to start talking, because the Australian visitor is the long-term stay and the long hauler, so if we can get them over here, that'd be a great model to really start trying to build the larger stand mall out. In terms of our department, as you see, Ben Alter joined 2 weeks ago. One thing that came out of UTIA is I asked the Office of Tourism Co-op Board, hey, going backwards, have we collected all of our co-op funds? Well, the 22-23 funds had a huge balance that were never collected, so with a very short deadline, Ben had that in and it reported by Friday, so we'll find out that if we have a collection of about 135K on that. We're now going after what was from last year, the 212.5. So, I'm glad that we didn't find out afterwards that we did not go report that and get our actual payment for it. So, USU base camp is, the other thing too is we just received acceptance for assistant director of marketing. So Ali Harford will be joining our team in a couple weeks. So that brings us up to date on the team. USU base camp will be next week. It's very tourism economy focused, so I don't think that one's been communicated well in the setup. But looked at the agenda today. There's even guys from RRC who did the tourism Trail to Tomorrow, presenting some of the Trail to Tomorrow stuff and some of the data sets. So there'll be some good sessions there. We will go in front of the Budget Advisory Board on the 16th. That got moved from the 2nd. And I'll update when we get to that point where we're at on that. At the 1st of November, I'll be on the Utah Office of Tourism Sales Mission to France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. And there'll be quite a few meetings. I have a briefing meeting tomorrow, so find out who all will be there as a follow-up. They're trying to get us a meeting, or at least me a meeting with the Southern France president that we met here in January when we did the memorandum of understanding signing out at Red Cliffs, so that we can keep following on that. Just a side note, was in City Market last night. There's a lot of Asian tourists non-speaking Asian tourists in City Market last night, which was interesting because if they're buying groceries, they're probably not on a necessarily designed tour, so that may be a fly drive, so something to kind of monitor. The other things, just Brian said, give an update on. If you remember when we presented the co-op application, we talked about doing the Road Less Eaten with Outside Magazine, because what that could help possibly execute on strategy is getting that active visitor set connected with our dining and other opportunities in the city. So we are going to go in front of the commission in one sense or other to pull forward the initial spend so we can get that going. So we're not waiting till after the first year to start this. We could get this thing started moving so that we could maximize time and market. At the last commission meeting last week, the Simple View web platform was passed. So that's good. That was one that got slowed down a little. There was an acquisition of the company, but we still feel good about that one. So we hope to get going pretty fast on that and get Discover Moab platform modern and back up and running, because that's basically the hub for all the marketing we're doing everywhere. And then finally on Friday night, I attended the Cinema Moab, and as Biga said, it was a great event and neat to see. So that's my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Will the website be rolled out as a whole, or will it kind of
I gotta go look
come
at it.
online as they build it?
I hope that we can get it up and just the basics up and running, because I don't think there's a lot of complexity to it. They build a lot of DMO websites. And I think we're gonna try and just get the content that's correct moved over, and then get to where we can start plugging in.
So something came up last night that we talked about at the airport board meeting is seeing if
What's the
can
name of,
start.
what's the name of the company?
Simple View.
Simple View.
See if we could, there was. If Discover Moab or Travel Council would take on like, or look at promoting the airport or incorporating the airport into. Is there?
Their website is also like old and ancient and
Yeah.
like needs love.
Okay,
Yeah, so Tammy was asking, so I brought it up that was looking at our budgets.
so this would be more than a link, this would be
Yeah,
incorporating them in?
yeah, whether it's like,
Creating couple pages or something.
yeah, or we're just taking over the website and just creating a new website. And she referred to like, take a look at Vernal Airport's website
Okay,
for comparison. Just to look and see, like, she's like, yeah, ours just needs a lot of help and
is the airport a special operating district?
No.
Okay. It's just part of the county, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I will look into this,
Yeah.
just figuring out.
Their website is just based on,
They don't book through it, right? There's no ticket bookings. through
No.
it. Okay,
yeah, I think it's just pretty.
It's an
simple.
awareness
it's
website,
informational.
okay,
Yeah,
Stuff, but it's incorporated into the county's web pages, which look very government-ish, and inviting, and stuff.
okay,
And where like journals and stuff like that are actually information pages.
let me look into that.
cool.
Noted. Anything
Okay,
else?
great. No, I'm sorry, the timeframe on the new website, you think?
Well,
Right,
I
still a
would
few months
just,
out.
so I'll tell you, this thing's been,
I'm sure it's huge
Thank you.
project.
I don't know how huge it's gonna be, actually, that's what I'll get in and find out,
Mhm.
but. And this is all good, it's not a complaint, as we talked about when we were with Brian the other day.
Mhm.
The timeline of then taking it in front of the TCAP, so we slowed it down a little bit there, then we had to do the. The ICA review, which took a while, and then there was an acquisition in the middle. So I think, when did we present this originally to the TCAP, was that back in
Like
August?
3 months ago.
Yeah, so it was, so it was even that far. So now that it's like through all the gates, it's like go time. Let's go as fast as we can. It's part of why we brought on staff that has some background in this, will manage the project implementation. And my goal is to hopefully we have this up and running quickly, because
Mhm.
it's
Everything.
held up the ability to link a lot of our other marketing efforts, so.
And then you said you picked up a new team member.
Yes.
Are you guys fully staffed at this point then?
I believe we are, I think, because I believe there'll be possibly not. There'll be some kind of change in organization to how we do the events going forward, but I don't know what that is. So, yeah, so we should be good.
Right. Right, running on all cylinders.
Yes,
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to, we got one board opening. And we do have Sharon is coming up for renewal, at the end of this season, so, or at the end
They'll
of this
probably
year.
kick me off.
I love it, look,
Okay.
yeah, she just gets mad because I give out her phone number. No, all I know is from going to, I don't know which meeting we're in. Whoever applies, even if they're re-upping, has to go through the full,
Yes.
it was the county attorney,
Mhm.
the director's meeting. They have to go through the
Yeah,
first.
yeah, so I just told Sharon that she was
Yeah,
out, she didn't
okay.
know.
I think I have my old application still on my
I would
computer.
want-
So
So you're not-
I'll just change the dates.
So you have to reply. Do you know, do we know if we have any applicants yet?
I believe there's one.
Where is it being announced and when's the deadline?
The vacancy?
Yeah.
The vacancies are announced, it's an evergreen page on the county website, people can find it anytime. There are also flyers posted around the county building, I believe there's one or two at the city building. I just did some other spots around Main Street, but mostly it's being advertised on here. At the building here and online on the county website. People are free to publicize it, I don't really think that's something the county does.
And when's the deadline? I know people who want to apply.
So do I.
I think it's open, yeah, I think.
So-
they
I think it's
can apply.
open till
They can
February.
apply. It's open until it's filled.
Isn't it
Yeah, I
open
think
till
like, we
Yeah.
can
Have them apply.
interview up into December, I think. Yeah.
Because Jenny is vacant right now.
Mhm. Jenny is vacant and Sharon will reapply
Right.
at some point.
Mine's up in December.
Mhm. So we'll
Is
need
there a
to
specific
re-interview.
link on the web,
Well,
on
I
the,
think-
on the here?
I think it's just like, it was right on the homepage. I
Let me take a
recall.
look here.
I think that it just says there's board openings. It's like right on the homepage.
You
It
know?
doesn't specifically say TCAP, but
Yeah, if you go to greencountyutah.net, just scroll down on the left, Grand County Board openings is the first one you see.
yeah,
Yeah, have them apply.
yeah, I had a friend who thought about it, but she's too busy, so. Anyway,
And Jenny's position doesn't have to be a TRT or TRCCA collecting member, from what I understand. We only have to have 4 members that are collecting that,
yeah, that's a good question.
you and I, and
Rebecca.
Brian Cummings and Rebecca all represent that, so that widens your margins,
Mhm.
I think. But it doesn't hurt. The people I know are part of that collection.
Right, but do they have to be?
We can go look at what your board bylaws will tell, what your
Mhm.
bills have to be. I would think.
What's that? You're not sure?
I believe it's just a resident.
I agree, because the majority already has.
Yeah, I mean, I've just heard murmurs of, it seems like everyone on the TCAP is a business oriented person or collects tourism
Part
money.
of tourism.
We don't, but we're tourism.
Tourism oriented.
Tourism oriented, right, not a.
Well, isn't that what the travel council is?
But like a
Right.
rafting company doesn't collect TRT or TRCCA, but they might be
Uh-huh.
really good input just because of the tourism.
Mhm. Right, or also someone who's just who lives here and loves Moab and wants to promote it.
Or others, or. You have to live here, to be a good place to live.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you can take people who have businesses.
Yes.
Yes.
Prefer not to.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
No, it's
suggesting
not a
that- I don't
requirement
It's
of,
not a
of
requirement.
what the
I don't think
tax
You have to
rate
have
is.
so many of each.
I get that. I'm just saying the spot that's open can be.
We should
but you
verify
prefer that it's
that,
just a-
because I'm not sure.
an
We'd have to
at-large.
look at- I'm with you, we'll look at
Yeah.
the bylaws.
I've just heard a suggestion that we should have people in the TCAP that
Or not.
aren't in the stake of collecting tourism dollars or in the tourism market. Part of the general public, which. I mean,
Who is
obviously they want to have
Who
a
in
desire.
Moab is not involved with tourism.
What's that?
Who in Moab is not involved with tourism?
Well, residents.
Well, yeah, but if they probably work for a tourism company.
I don't-
Or retired.
Yeah.
Could just be like my neighbor.
Mhm. Yeah, just exploring. The options of like, where do we need to have people who collect or not?
Great.
Okay.
We could clarify that, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Update on the advertising and promotion budget.
Okay, so, we showed you kind of the straw man draft a few weeks ago, which was like 2.4. But that was all the tactics, not the strategy. So we've been spending a lot of time. Part of it'll come up when we show you this campaign possibility, but looking at different rebrandings, looking at different video companies, different options. So we are now doing it down to a line item. So we're right in the middle of working on that, but without planting a flag, I think we're headed towards the same number or a very big number because, but we want to make sure we're not just throwing out numbers that we can't go execute on.
Mhm.
So for instance, we have ranges, so I think when we look at our creative rebranding, we have, because we've been getting quotes from lots of vendors, so we had one that was something like 1.2 million, one that was 850K, and then one that was much lower. So we're basically taking the average of that, saying, okay, here's our range, but this is the average, let's go put this in the budget. We're looking at the tools. I was gung ho to get a geofence tool, Zartico, but then talking to my peers at UAC and Tia. They're like, no, don't, if you have Placer AI, which I have thought has failed us, they're like, no, used correctly, it works really well, so. I think going forward, what we want to understand is. Someone thought it was a good idea to buy these tools through our agency of record because they would get reports. I think it creates a layer that slows us down. I wanna own these directly. Now we have people that can work with them.
Mhm.
I also think that we have some possible redundancy or inefficiency, so we're really scouring these tools to see what do we need and what can we just leverage off. What others are doing, like the state. Definitely Star Reports, Symphony, we need those. We will fund government OS, but it needs to be managed by planning and zoning, and that's the one to go. Look at illegal short-term rentals. And
Yeah,
hoping that works. I hear from both sides, and because things are in the county, not the city, there may be an issue, but we're gonna push very hard on that one and really kind of watch over the timeline that was presented. And then things like familiarization tours, the international sales missions where we can find traction, we want to do that. So that's where we're at on that. It's still around, I think it's basically in the same realm of numbers, but now we're going to see what exactly the real costs are, as well as the different memberships, IITA. We've joined Grand Circle because we figure in the Four Corners, we need to be part of that. These different,
Grand Circle's like an entity of advertising of the Southwest.
yeah, it's like a trade association. It's, I will show you the communities, but it's communities in Arizona, Colorado, and Utah. So it's like Grand Junction, Durango. It's a small group, but I just don't see why we wouldn't want to be a part of it. And that's where the airports are. That's,
Yeah.
it's a loop, it's a tour loop. There may be an opportunity, this is a separate thing, but there may be an opportunity to do something with an old idea, Kanab to Moab. So meeting with Jeanette, who's Camille's successor, through San Juan County up to here. We have some different ways we can go there. We're looking at all the different trade shows, so ITV, IPW, Go West, which ones make sense, who should be there, as well as the social media stuff. So we're trying to break this down to the very line item so that if things get squeezed or we get it all, we can either defend it or then we can prioritize what we're willing to give up. So much smarter at doing this year than I was last year. I was way too new and didn't even know what I was really looking at, so.
Mhm.
So was there any questions on that? Yeah,
When do we have to have our recommended, like our letter
I
recommendation?
think for the end of the year, isn't it? Because they won't vote the budget until, last year you did it in September.
No, it has to be before they have they'll approve their budget. In December. But that letter should probably be to them right now. Because they're figuring out their budgets.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
When we were setting up the agenda, one thing that we did talk about that you may want to put in the advisory letter, I'll let you decide, but that when we get these co-op grants, that we can start in the co-op period
yeah,
I
The year
guess, how did we say it today? That we are spending pre-allocated funds that have not been approved in a budget yet. Well, for instance, something that costs 90,000, it's really 45,000 because it's matched. And it's at a lower, like we have the initial payment or something. It's like, we don't want to get hung up on a timeline because we're waiting for budgeting. So that was one thing, Brian, we were talking the other day, you might want to put in there. So I asked that you guys review the letter from last year too. So we could talk about that.
yeah, I mean, we can look at it,
It's in the agenda.
then we
When you're ready.
can go all over that. Yeah, September 12th. last year. Just about, there it is.
You ready to look at that? Is
Yeah,
that on the agenda? Are we
Yeah.
there yet?
Mitigation suggestion.
yeah, the mitigations, I mean, it's kind of all together. I just figure we might as well just, this is kind of a priority that we need to get this done, so we might as well just have a quick look at what we said last year. And any comments on this? Let's see.
So are you looking at duplicating what last year's recommendation was? Or-
I don't necessarily think we need to duplicate, I just wanna have a look and see what we did last year, and so how do we wanna change it for next year?
I would suggest you write it, on what you wanna see happen next year.
Mhm.
And I'll just say this is, there's was a tense time this summer and a few other meetings where
Mhm.
a lot of stuff was thrown out there, but if we go look at this
Mhm.
letter. With international marketing, we went with Herman Global, National Geographic UK, and we opted in, we increased our opt-in with the international side. So we did that with domestic and regional marketing. We had the Trail to Tomorrow, we had we had our Love Co-op and Creative, which the Creative was very small. I think we're gonna move funds over to up that for this year for some things we've done. That it said competitive and strategic marketing with the goal of driving revenue. I think when we came in, as I've said before, we had a lot of tactics, there wasn't a lot of strategy, so
Yeah.
we moved to do that. So I think on the visitor education, we did the Arches timed entry, we printed the travel guides, we found ways to outsource that. Billboards, we have the inventory, we have something in the consent agenda that I may actually have to present, which is another re-upping a billboard
Mhm.
lease, which is just to preserve that space. It does not affect the content, but I think this next year, if you guys agree, and we've said it, I've said it a bunch of times, I think we should talk about some creative change to those billboards,
Yeah.
something that is more welcoming
Yeah.
and inclusive.
I agree on that.
We've done the familiarization tours.
Mhm.
We paid for and used a lot of the data and research software and the reports, but I think, that's continuous improvement there.
Mhm.
The one thing I don't know if this ties into the GCAP model without a discussion, but off-road vehicle education, I think that's one where, we have an opportunity to promote in a much more positive, non-conflictive manner. On recreation film, we propped up the film commission budget. We revised the job description and made Biga director. And we have promotion in place, while it's not going as fast as I want, for the 75th promotion, so. We funded the Web Information Center, and the hand dryer in the men's room works every time I go in there now. And
Yeah,
they just don't like when you give their phone number out.
We're
and-
down one stall and one
All right.
urinal, so.
And so, and then we just found out, and I hope this is EOAB scope, but. And well, I know with what people have done participating in the fair, there's been encouragement of OSTA events. I also think that we're gonna go from the economic side and research if there is an opportunity to use the Rural County Opportunity Grant to do any kind of improvement at OSTA. So we just learned that that may be a possibility going forward, so. That's where we are in this letter, but I would suggest
Okay.
you write the letter in a
Okay.
way that we can be looked at against it.
So. Sure.
I was just wondering if on the mitigation, where here we just say, just do it like you've been. Should we say we resolve, we, no recommendations, but still list what we want funded in the mitigation?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Um,
and that's.
Just to make it a little more. This is so broad, it just says, keep it the way it is. Well,
Yeah,
what is it?
I've-
Which is illegal.
Right.
Cause you also
Can't
talked
keep
to
it the way
different
it was. They
organizations
were
you wanted
spending
to support, right? Like, wasn't it EMS or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, the EMS and the sheriff and
Mhm.
that stuff.
Yeah, so, I
Do
mean,
we not have a line by line of the budget that we've been working on for the last 2 months of each item that? I mean,
we have, from,
is that something we're voting on in the next little bit?
we need to talk about our mitigation, suggestions for the budget. And then we need to work on our letter to the
Mhm.
commission.
And
So we
what's
can
the
do that.
timeline on that?
We should have something drafted for next meeting. So, we can talk about our mitigation suggestions now, ideally.
Yeah, I think we should
And
just
then-
list them out.
I
Yeah.
have to exit, and so I just want to find out what our timeline is, so. that
Sure,
if-
I think we should
because
just
on the
communicate,
16th of October is when they're meeting before the,
That's our first presentation, like when we did last year when you were, there, but I think your letter was actually after that first meeting, if I remember right.
seems like we should kind of go line by line on both the promotion and mitigation before, so Ben can go in prepare.
Mhm.
I
Just
don't
make
present
sure
the
there's nothing in
mitigation.
there.
I don't present the mitigation piece.
Okay.
You guys present that and then that's,
that'll be in the letter.
I've never,
Mhm.
last year I did not present the mitigation piece. It
Mhm.
was,
Just the.
It's just in the letter.
Mhm. So we need to have a good draft for the promotion for October 16th.
Yes,
we'll send you a first, we'll probably have the draft by end of this week.
we should also have a mitigation suggestion if you should double this.
Yeah.
And Sharon
Well,
thinks we should double the.
That's what we want to talk
Hand
to,
dryers?
we want to talk about that today,
We're gonna cut it.
and we can, you gotta go, okay, so we can certainly talk about it.
Continue to talk, I've listened
Watch.
Sure.
on YouTube.
Mhm. Yeah, we can follow up through emails.
You also don't have a voting form.
Yeah, we can, I mean, we're just gonna suggest, it's just a discussion.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna show you.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we can't vote on, I mean, there's really nothing to vote on that right now.
I probably will listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, man,
But
okay. So for mitigation. In the past. We,
Yeah, do you have a list of what?
yeah, Ben, can you scroll down to impact mitigation from 2023? Or you could just start
hey,
at
Lori,
2021.
ask her son. Let's see.
Yes. I'm not gonna listen currently, I'll listen to that.
There it is.
This is impact mitigation from 2021, I'm showing.
Uh-huh,
And
How's
also,
the museum in for mitigation?
China. Shouldn't that go under culture and conventions?
Yeah, how is museum under mitigation?
I did not put that in there.
I know this is earlier,
I'm
this
sure
was before you,
let me see if.
this was before Ben.
I don't know, but I will say. the Museum. Is a TRT attraction that we can promote, that could be huge. I would suggest you keep the museum in there.
Well,
Not under
But it-
mitigation.
but
but
not
it can't-
under
mitigation.
yeah, we want,
That's what I
so,
Where do you go, where do you guys,
I don't know.
you guys get put in the conventions, that's where you get.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I think museums should be.
Well, then, couldn't museums be under conventions also?
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, well, can we switch the numbers? No.
Well, it's under, so that was 2020.
I'm looking into it right now, but. You should seem to remember that TRT statute calls out museums and information centers as
Yeah.
eligible for impact mitigation funding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at.
Then you're in the wrong place.
Or we could be in both. We could be in both.
Mhm.
How about some or both?
Okay. I guess there'll be a
Cause I know we can be under the other, the convention thing.
I think for me, the biggest thing, in the mitigation situation is
Visitors.
whether the commission is gonna consider the Grand Center part of mitigation or not.
The Grand Center.
Yeah,
It's not in there. Or now. I don't know
For,
how can the Grand Center be mitigation?
well, that's
It's
what
a
they,
convention.
Convention.
okay, sorry, that's under TRCC.
Film production. Conventions.
Right.
That's why it's in there.
Should that?
So that'll be something else we can talk
Grand
about.
Center wasn't legally allowed.
Mitigation here, okay, mitigation for last year.
So anyway, as far as mitigation on this list,
That's
for
good,
sure search and
yeah.
rescue, for sure law enforcement, solid waste and Thompson Fire.
So
And
yeah, we don't
But
have,
we need to question museum.
yeah,
I'd have to answer, do you want to hear the part of code real quick?
sure,
So in purposes of transient room tax and expenditure of revenue, purchase or lease of facilities mitigating impacts of recreation, tourism or conventions. Under section 2B, the following are called out for acquiring, leasing, constructing, furnishing, maintaining or operating convention meeting rooms, exhibit halls, visitor information centers, museums, sports and recreation facilities, including practice fields, stadiums and arenas, related facilities. And there's some other stuff about national parks and airports.
And that's under mitigation.
Yes.
So we could be in, the MIC could be in there too. Is there another
the-
section for convention or visitor centers? Strictly for visitor centers? Well, there's TRCCA, that's where we're getting ours. We're getting ours from the TRCCA.
Yeah, I'm just looking
And
at
not
TRT
TRT.
right now, and that's the only place it's mentioned.
So TRT could actually be putting money towards the information center too.
the thing about mitigation is the vast majority of mitigation is spent with law enforcement activities and. We have solid waste, search and rescue.
Right.
Thompson Fire. So. What we would like to add the EMS,
Oh, yes.
a chunk for EMS. If anyone else agrees on that.
I agree, add EMS.
So I
Is
guess,
that legal?
It-
EMS,
yeah.
Mitigation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, they've received it in the past.
Emergency medical services provider.
yes, okay.
And they asked for
300,000, basically an ambulance.
an ambulance.
Yeah,
That's not available anymore, so that's
Yeah.
all other.
yeah, that's gone, yeah.
But there's still TRT coming in. Well, it's not big enough, it's like that.
Okay.
Ramp.
Oh, did you want me to scroll any further in here?
I'm looking myself right now. Yeah, so like EMS was in there back in 2022.
No. Did they get funded 22?
They got-
They got funded.
They got 50,000 according to this. Piece.
Good, thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, if you scroll up to. Ben.
Mhm.
Up to 2022, part 1.
Well, we don't have a form now.
It's like page 8,
Or page 8 of 30.
no. Mine's wrong, go down a little bit.
What, year end in twenty
Yeah,
22?
go down a little bit. Right there. Is that Grand County E EMS?
That is, I don't know if that indicates that it was split between EMS and Thompson. But I guess it's probably just for Thompson.
Yeah.
But search and rescue activities.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't gotten it for
Several years.
so.
Mhm. I
Just
think-
after 22, yeah.
So does anybody else have any suggestions for mitigation besides adding EMS?
At the MIC, but I have to abstain.
Right.
Just throwing it out there, because you guys threw it out there. Didn't someone say the pool?
Yeah. Yeah, city pool. So I think it's worth mention. Suggestion.
You're talking about the Marac?
The. Yeah.
MRAC.
There's so many. MRAC, what's the other one called?
Mark,
The Mark. This is
Mark.
Mark Mick.
Mick, Mark, Mac.
I work at the Mac.
Okay, MRAC. EMS.
Correct.
So it's all gonna fall under mitigation, not regular promotion. But couldn't MRAC come out of TRCCA as well?
The RCC.
TRCCA also has, that's where the money comes from, is from TRCCA.
Yeah, but they're losing their butt, well, and they need help.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure
could,
the
it'd
pool
probably
could be
be,
in there
that'd
too.
probably be more. Probably make more sense for it.
TRCCA.
Yeah, because that's where the money for the MIC comes out of.
Right,
So it'd be, probably the pool could come out of that.
And. Are they losing? Convention facilities grant center? Is that what needs to be pulled out?
well, that's my, it seems like a big elephant in the room of like, what's gonna happen with. Is the commission gonna decide to try to fund the Grand Center and stick with their guns, or are they gonna concede and say, we're not gonna fund the Grand Center next year?
I think we'll know very soon.
Mhm.
There's been some movement on trying to clarify those topics. I don't know, you could prepare two scenarios. One in which
Mhm.
we continue to fund Grand Center. If Grand Center is allowed to be funded the way it has been,
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain we'll continue to do it that way.
right,
But if not, that is unlocked funds.
yeah, well, I mean, according to
Unlocked it.
2022. If
Well, not
you
all
That'd be huge.
scroll up a little
Not
bit.
all of it.
Half of it?
It's part 2 of 2022.
Well, no, I think.
Yeah,
like
Grand Center right here.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's-
2020,
Oh, that's
2020.
I'm sorry.
You're not.
But yeah, just looking at 2022, it's 800,000.
No, Nick.
We're on
And
TRCCA.
certainly if,
I'm looking at 22, I guess.
I mean, if Grand Center isn't in there, the MRAC certainly could seem to fall right in place of that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
So if you guys are down with that, I would be down with that.
we're not even on that one.
And yes, reviewing TRCCA. Recreation facilities included, so the
Mhm.
pool would probably be a good example of that.
Yeah. Okay. Tourist facilities trails. Is
I
that,
think that was one of them that got dinged on the, audit.
but if it's a
'Cause it's-
facility,
They don't have a facility. Well, they have, I guess they do have an office, but it's not a tourist facility. Tourists don't go there.
It's the actual trails, isn't it?
well, I think that trails.
yeah, like what is it?
It's the actual trails.
Trails was fine, it was Trails Ambassadors, it was not, it's not in that.
But like, so trails meaning like building new trails? That would be promoting, because it's development. And maintenance of. So,
And trail maintenance,
Trying,
right,
not just
Yeah.
building new.
yeah. Mhm. Okay. Any other discussion on mitigation? Okay, we can talk a little bit more over email about some of these things and have a drafted letter. I can also get with Brian, we can just connect again with Ben about how to move forward with the draft. We can get back to everybody on that.
Is there a committee for the letter?
No, I mean, we could come up with a
If you
subcommittee.
want, I can help you and Brian. with it.
Okay,
As long as we don't have more than three, right?
right.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm also here to help with that.
Great.
I think, yeah, Ben has a lot of experience with this kind of stuff, so.
Fun stuff.
Okay, moving on to discussion on tourism works in Grand County. Sorry.
That's the one Brian put on there. Yeah, I thought he said he was gonna send something about that.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it.
Maybe discuss this next time, put it on the agenda for next week or next month.
Sorry, Brian.
He wasn't talking about the UTA toolkit, was he, where it said tourism works? If it is, I'll just tell you guys what it is if you go to the UTA tourism or UTA website. There's a tourism toolkit or UTA toolkit
Mhm,
that says how to answer questions in a tourism economy to try and,
mhm.
I believe what it is to try and smooth the relationship of tourism to locals, and understanding that impact. It's kind of the Kim Gardner, we know it's important, but we hate it mentality, or we, there's a dissatisfaction. So that may be what he was referencing, which one thing in the strategy that we're talking about is changing sometimes the way we refer to people from tourists to actually visitors, that we make it a more useful label. It's more welcoming, so.
Yeah, it looks like Brian was unable to send over what he had been planning to. He said he had to run it by Selena at UTM for her approval, so that might be.
He must be trying to add that into what they have on their toolkit.
Mhm.
Okay. So he was probably looking for the TCAP to support or not what he wanted to add. Is that what he was?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, I would just say that for the next meeting.
Yeah, let's table
Okay.
it. New creative partners and winter advertising campaign proposal.
Okay, so
Ready?
just go through this real
Yeah,
quick. So Alex and Brian's less, but one thing that's come out of having a new, very capable marketing person, and a lot of the stuff that we've looked at, different video companies, making some challenges to rebranding and some other things, we said, would it be smart for us to try and do like a small beta project this point of the year? There's always been talk about trying to bump up the shoulder season and winter. So we came up with this small project that can stay small or go bigger. And we wanted to present it to the TCAP to say, you want us to move forward with trying to do this, or thanks for showing us, but we're not interested. So again, it's an optional shoulder season ad campaign inspiring winter travel. The campaign would be to encourage off-season visitation, which has been a long-term goal. We've kind of researched this in articles that were written in the Times Independent and Sun News that people talked about. So we're kind of asking and suggesting, what do we consider in developing winter ads for people that are within the drive distance here? So for instance, we could say Colorado, northern Utah. The thought's always been that time of year, if you don't mind wearing a jacket, it's not a bad time to hike. There's no timed entry. There's discounted rooms here. There's shops where you could retail, promote, pre-Christmas,
There's
the
great
gift
Christmas
shopping. Yeah, there's great Christmas
there's
shopping.
at least 2 restaurants open.
There's some great restaurants open. There's at least 2 that we know of. There's many more that we know of that are actually really good. But it's a way to push and say this is a great time to come down here. It would be able to engage a creative agency and kind of give them a little test run. We have different scenarios where we could place the media buys, which we've already talked to Love about. And then we could go on the flip side and do a media measurement on like, what were the results? Did we see a bump in TRT? Did we, you know, how did our year over year on ADRs and RevPARs go? The reasons to move forward would be to promote off-season visitation, an opportunity to engage the new partners, like I said, and it's a beta project for something bigger down the road. One thing about it is, it would also, there should be another bullet that should be, it would give us a process to go better socialize this. So if we were gonna do this, we would need to go talk to the restaurants and the hotels and say, hey, you know,
That's what I was
this
just,
is coming.
what I was
Like-
thinking,
Like, we
coming
won't
up
just
with-
do it. and-
come up with a plan of
Yeah.
attack,
So,
like make
So-
sure that like restaurants and hotels are.
exactly, so we don't mighty-fy
Those weekends, or we're gonna be promoting this, this is where, you know, if you'd like discount some rooms, we get people in. Make sure restaurants are open and during these times, we're expecting something.
Right, so that was kind of the idea of it, so that's what we wanted to present, so if you go forward. These are some examples of the companies we've looked at, one is called Operate Visual, if you click on the link.
Sorry, Bill, like, what is a beta project? Is that a?
Beta is like, you're, it's like a little test, it's like you do a small
Okay.
design of experiment,
Copy.
you're not committed to the big thing.
Mhm.
So here's Operate Visual, they do really nice work, they're more of a creative firm, rebranding, they work with some big clients, as you can see. So that's one of them. And these links are all there for you guys to go back and review if you'd like. The next one is called, okay, back on that operator, they are a company that spends a lot of time down here, they recreate down here. Very big, they've done a lot of work for Wildly Wyoming, if you go to the Visit Wyoming DMO page where you see Jimmy Chin and those guys. These guys have a lot of, content already in-house, so this is one that we could go get visuals and either have them build the deck, or we, like we've done with Mark Finley, we could push it to Love to create. The next one is the Camp 4. These are very creative, firm. This is one that we definitely will consider in our, possible rebranding effort. These guys come with ideas. These guys came with a traditional, campaign and then also a humorous campaign. So, that's an option as well. So Camp 4 Collective.
They've filmed down here before and actually asked for permits. The other
Right.
ones, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, these guys are sharp. Next one,
Just saying.
as we know, I think is Love Communications. They'll come forward with a piece we've said as the agency of record, anything we're farming out, you have the ability to throw your hat in as well. And then the next one is what we've traditionally done, which is Finley Holiday Productions, where we already have a lot of content. He's just doing something right now for Andrea at Sand Flats, because we supported that, taking part of our work to do the dark sky piece. So, but as we talked about in our discussion the other day, we want to present the idea, not ask for the mechanics of how we would go forward. It's more, do you want us to pursue this and then go do it in-house and present it to the commission and push it forward? The budget, as we go forward, creative could be anywhere from 30 to 50K. The media buy could be anywhere from 25 to 300K, so the total cost could be in that range from 55 to 350K. I would think we would want to stay on the lower end because it's a beta, and how much of the market do we really want to plug to go for? But that's the idea, that's the presentation, and as you can see, there's been a lot of due diligence done before we just brought this small deck to you guys, so we would like feedback and then, discussion. I don't know if you have enough people to make a motion.
We can't make a motion and vote,
But
I don't think. can we?
No.
No, but
We
I,
can still consider, we can still discuss.
I think it's a great idea. I also, it could even bring people in the spring. Because, they might see it this winter and go,
Early
crap, I'm already booked for this winter, but hey, I can go next spring. you know,
Absolutely.
That's kind of what we're thinking.
and it's always nice to try new things.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about it.
So let me ask you a question, without having a forum now,
Mhm.
without making a motion to move forward. Should we just take it to the next step and go in front of the commission with it then?
Mhm.
I think so. I think we need to get going on it because
Yeah,
it's already out middle of October.
And I understand you're saying maybe not to throw a whole lot of money in it, but I think we have money in the budget too. That we need to spend, so I feel like aiming for that upper echelon. Like two
Getting
fifty,
people here this winter.
yeah. And I'm sure that, business folk from town will all enjoy a little bit of extra something this winter.
Yeah, because theoretically, you get this thing going, it's gonna take,
You're gonna have to throw a lot into it just to get it something,
right, so. Having something that's out there promoting by mid-February. Seems pretty ambitious, but it would be great.
Mhm. Yeah, what do you think the turnaround time frame would be?
Well, in a perfect world, we were hoping to bring it here,
Mhm.
get a motion to move forward, and get it in the commission. From the commission, I don't know if we can have it,
We still do that.
like today we
They
can,
could make something right.
well, we can take it in front of the commission next week.
Mhm. I mean, we talked with Brian's all about it, I don't see.
I don't see any of our board members not wanting.
Yeah.
I guess just
advertising
put
in
in,
the winter.
yeah, just put in your minutes that you didn't have a quorum, but the people there in the discussion were supportive.
Right.
And we will, and therefore we will take it in front of the commission to see if they're supportive.
Mhm.
I think this is an opportunity cost of, maybe finding some TRT revenue, so,
No, I agree.
okay, and it
Yeah.
gives us. Like I say, it makes us have to go eat our own dog food or how to socialize these campaigns, so,
Mhm.
all right.
Great.
Okay, anything else?
I don't believe, correct me if something's changed, but for certain time sensitive items, boards can vote over email too. So anyone
I'm
wanted
not
to.
sure I'm not sure of that rule. I
unless
know
it's-
our board can at CMHA, but I don't know what.
I know we
ours is.
couldn't on the EOAB on an issue, so,
Okay, then we'll leave it.
Yeah, we'll forget that.
all right,
Yeah. Okay. Future items, we're 5 minutes over.
Just
Think
move that
we'll-
one,
Future items we'll talk about in the future.
the
we'll come back in the future.
Mhm.
discussion on the tourism work trip, Brian,
Okay,
probably next week or next week.
okay. All right, well. We're gonna adjourn.
Thank you all very
All
much.
right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm having to go to
So,
another.
Ben, is there a
Stop
lot of work
recording.
on the agenda today?
Our meeting.